A growing number of Aussie support our house prices falling, with 61% backing a decline, including a majority across every age, political and income group. The Resolve Political Monitor found significant support among property investors, renters, those with a mortgage and people who own their home outright. And more Aussies support than oppose controversial budget tax changes to capital gains and negative gearing too, although a larger portion remain undecided. For their take, let's bring in broadcaster Justin Smith and the founding director of Western Sydney Women, Amanda Rose. Morning to both of you.
Hi, Amanda.
What do you make of these results, Justin?
The big figure in there for me is 42% on that top line. 42% are on undecided. I can't remember the last time I've seen something so important. So housing is one of the biggest issues in Australia and has been called a crisis many times. And yet for something so important that has been talked about so much, it's only 42%. Now, what does that tell you? I think people don't actually maybe trust what's going on around them, or they're just not engaged in it. And either way, for something so important, that's incredible. I think, I don't know, the trust thing keeps coming back to the flip-flop from the government. I mean, I don't mean to make it political, but I think people are so confused by it in the end, they don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know how we got things so complicated, to be honest.
Yeah. Do people not understand what's happening because the government messaging isn't clear, Amanda, or they just don't care about it? Do you think either one of those?
I do think that they don't trust governments in general. People just don't. But I think it's an education piece. Not many people understand. So I'm contacted nearly daily by small businesses and, educated people, just people in general asking me, what does this mean? And what's really important is for media and even social media to explain what's really going on without the hate and that divisiveness of if you've got an investment property, you're the enemy. So people need to understand that the capital gains tax and the negative gearing component, that's what the 42% undecided is about. When it comes to super funds, however, they only get taxed the 10% and foreign investors get taxed 15%. But the individual, so the mum and pops that want to have an investment property, get taxed 25 to 30%, potentially up to 47% with the changes. So I think people, the undecided might move when they realise that foreign investments and super funds get the tax break. So it's not the mum and dads that are ripping off the system. They're actually being hurt the most.
Justin, something people contact me about every day is why isn't the government and the opposition saying, this is great, this is what we wanted to do. We wanted house prices to fall. No one in the government will say that. And now we've got a poll saying an enormous amount of people support that.
Yeah, look, that's interesting, but I think, and something that Amanda said...
people can afford houses
because
they can't...
More
people can't afford houses if they're the same price or going up.
Absolutely. I think the government is petrified of losing a single vote by jumping either way. And I mean, like most governments, this is not just a Labor Party Albanese thing, but they want to stand up and give good news all the time. Now, Amanda, with the greatest of respect to you, you said it's up to the media and social media to be explaining things. We've got a government to explain these things, to make these decisions. And we've got an opposition but this is a government, doing an awful
Justin,
job.
But the government has been, and I agree with you, but the government has just been proven to be lying to the people and backflipping on things. So people are switching off from listening to the government. They're switching off from listening to the coalition. They also backflip. They're all fighting each other and they've all got misleading propaganda statements. So therefore we need to go to social media. We need to go to associations. We need to go to media in general to explain it.
Well, but to Justin's point, as you were saying, Justin, it is the government of the day's job, surely, to explain to the people what its budgetary policies are.
And Nat, they don't. This is the big. It goes to a much bigger problem. They don't trust us. Now, the Albanese camp were clearly going to be doing this all the way along. They were going to make these changes.
Well, Jim Chalmers told me they only decided this in the last few weeks.
I've got a handful of magic beans too, Nat. Would you like to?
That the CGT changes were going on shares.
No. They should have sold this before the election. which is
they wouldn't have got voted in,
what a proper
Justin.
put it. Yeah, but that's the way it should have gone.
Absolutely.
And now we're in a position where we don't trust them, and you've got a poll over one of the most important issues in Australia, and 42% of people say, look, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Or they don't care.
It's not good. Or they don't care. It's not good.
We don't know that. We don't know whether they don't care or
they just don't know the details, so they
it.
can't make the decision. So undecided means I don't know enough to make an informed choice.
Yeah, we can't assume.
Yep.
But it's one of those.
Yep.
So tell us what you think about these.